Hey guys, it's Antonio again, and lucky for you, we're going back to back videos. Um, I guess I'm just kind of making up for last week on not having a second video posted. But this afternoon's video is something that occurred to me a little bit earlier today, but it's something that has popped up again and again over the last couple of years that has really left me thinking about what my position is on it. And I think I'm pretty sure what my position is on it, but I want to relay it to you and see what you guys think. Because I think it's something that, you know, if we go a little, wide left, so to speak, or wide right, we can kind of blow everything out of proportion. And here's what I'm talking about. I've seen it a couple times where it says Christianity is not a religion, it's a relationship. And basically, what it's saying is that Christianity is, not something you just go do on one day and you pay your tithes or whatever it is, but it's something that you have every day. It's a relationship you have with God. And that's where that relationship part comes in. And on kind of the surface, I agree with that. As Christians, we have a relationship with God. We see examples of that in the Bible as well. We see individuals who have relationships, personal relationships, especially some of them, with God. However, my fear is that we take this saying, as Christians, we take this saying and we almost, in a sense, humanize God. And where I'm going with that is that, when we think of relationships, a lot of the relationships we have are here on earth with our family, with our friends, with our coworkers, whatever it is, with our brothers and sisters at church, whatever it is. And we say, oh, here, my life is full of relationships. So I have these relationships and I have this relationship with God. And since Christianity is not a religion, sticking to this saying, since Christianity is not a religion, it's a relationship, my relationship with God is here, my relationship with friends is here, and there's a unity between them because I have relationships with both of them. And while, yes, it is true, there's still a difference between God and other people. Aside from the fact that, God is not physically here, God is God. He is our creator. He chastises us. He disciplines us, but he also loves us and shows us grace and has shown us a tremendous amount of mercy and blesses us when we don't even deserve, most of the blessings. And he blesses us so much, sometimes we don't even see a lot of our blessings. And so I want to tackle this saying from both sides because we do have a relationship with God, but I think that Christianity is also a religion. That's kind of my perspective. And I'm going to read some text from the Bible to hopefully help support that. And let me know what you guys think. So dealing with, relationship, with friendship, with God, you think of Psalm 25. You think of Psalm 25, and it's a pretty, well-known psalm. And so I'd like to read it, and then I'm obviously going to point out the one verse that talks about this. And so let's read Psalm 25 right now. Psalm 25. To you, O Lord, I lift up my soul. O my God, in you I trust. Let me not be put to shame. Let not my enemies exult over me. Indeed, none who wait for you shall be put to shame. They shall be ashamed who are wantonly treacherous. Make me to know your ways, O Lord. Teach me your paths. Lead me in your truth and teach me. For you are the God of my salvation. For you I wait all the day long. Remember your mercy, O Lord, and your steadfast love, for they have been from of old. Remember not the sins of my youth or my transgressions. According to your steadfast love, remember me, for the sake of your goodness, O Lord. Good and upright is the Lord. Therefore he instructs sinners in the way. He leads the humble in what is right, and he teaches the humble his way. All the paths of the Lord are steadfast love and faithfulness, for those who keep his covenant and his testimonies. For your name's sake, O Lord, pardon my guilt, for it is great. Who is the man who fears the Lord? Him will he instruct in the way that he should choose. His soul shall abide in well-being, and his offspring shall inherit the land. The friendship of the Lord is for those who fear him, and he makes known to them his covenant. So you guys might have recognized this psalm. It's one that is kind of part of a song that we even sing at church and in group gatherings and get-togethers. But the verse I want to focus on is actually the verse that I ended at. And I didn't read all of Psalm 25. I kind of just read a decent portion of it. But verse 14, the friendship of the Lord is for those who fear him, and he makes known to them his covenant. And so here we, in the same line of thinking, where we've been talking about, this relationship with God, not a religion with God, or do we still have a religion and a relationship and this friendship? So it kind of can become a little confusing. But here we have David, who's the author of this psalm, saying that friendship with the Lord, this relationship that we can have with him. And we see that David had that relationship with God. I mean, David is called a man after God's own heart. And so we know that we can have that relationship with God. We even see that in the New Testament. However, my fear when we're talking about having this relationship, and it's not a religion, is that, like I mentioned earlier, we kind of, humanize God, or take God from his pedestal that he's on, as our God, and we kind of level him with us. So God starts up here and we're down here, but as time goes on, we become level. And we begin to see God as more of a friend than as God, if that makes sense. I hope that's clear. Now, the other side of that saying is that, Christianity is not religion, it's relationship. I want to look on the religion part now, and I believe that where people are kind of getting at when they talk about that is, it's not just something that you do as a responsibility, worship God, go to church, do what you got to do, partake of the Lord's Supper, give contribution and all that. When, that's kind of just going through the acts. But I still think that, Christianity is more than that. But there's also that sort of reverence that we're still supposed to have. The relationship we have with God should not be on par or equal with the relationship we have with our friends and everything. There's supposed to be some sort of reverence, some sort of fear. The Proverbs talk about, I believe it's Proverbs 1:7, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. So we're supposed to fear God and keep his commandments, another passage. And, in that religion, there's talking of worship. When you have a relationship or friendship with someone, you don't really worship them, or at least you're not supposed to. But with God, we're called to worship him. And in Luke chapter 4, it's talking about the temptations of Jesus. And when Jesus is responding to the devil who's tempting him, he quotes Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 13, when he says, "You shall worship the Lord your God, and him only you shall serve." So we see here Jesus referencing that again, this worship, this reverence that we're supposed to have. And also in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 28, talking about, a kingdom that cannot be shaken. It says in verse 28, "Therefore let us be grateful for receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken, and thus let us offer to God acceptable worship with reverence and awe." And so this discussion that I want to have is that, we're supposed to be worshiping God. We're supposed to be serving God. I don't want us to make God not God by making him lower than he actually is. Because at the end of the day, as Christians, we're still supposed to worship God. We're still supposed to have that responsibility in doing what he says and what he tells us to do and what he tells us how to live through his word. If you have any questions about that, I think a good place to look is just in Revelation itself. We see Revelation and how God is constantly being praised. Yes, we have a relationship with God, but at the end of the day, when this world is over, when this world ends, and you're either in heaven or hell, when you look at the scene as it's described in heaven, it doesn't look like we're necessarily sitting around a table talking with God. It looks like we're praising Him and worshiping Him, all the time, and we're giving Him that praise for His holiness and for His love and tender mercy. And so my thoughts kind of veer more towards the middle of those two things, where it's not, a religion where you're just supposed to do what you're supposed to do without thinking, but it's also not a relationship where we just, yeah, like that. We treat God like, oh, I didn't call God today, I didn't talk to God today, but that's okay, in a couple of days, when, once he's kind of see how he's doing, and everything. That's not how it's supposed to be. So I think it's kind of being to know we do have a relationship with God and a special relationship with God, one that is unprecedented, but it's also, in a sense, still religion where we're supposed to be worshiping Him and we're supposed to be praising Him and giving Him the glory. And so I hope I made it clear what I was trying to get at there. It's something that has been on my mind, and I've always felt a little uncomfortable talking about it because I don't want to swing too much one way without intending to, or swing too much the other way without intending to. But I hope that might have given you guys some food for thought. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section below. I'll try to get to them. I check our comments section pretty frequently, a couple times a week, so I will get back to you in a timely manner. And I hope that this was helpful for you as we are all on our own journeys and working together to serve God. So thank you guys for visiting the Washington Church of Christ YouTube page. I hope that you can share this video, subscribe, do whatever it is you guys want to do. But most of all, I hope that it was encouraging to you and helps you on your walk. Once again, you can leave a comment about the video or a comment about how you're doing on your journey. All right, guys, have a great day. Thank you.